Hi there, my name's Paul, and this episode is part of our series called Glimpses of Jesus. We're on a journey through the Old Testament, examining the main events and seeing how they point us to Jesus and salvation in Him. We're in the book of Judges. Last time we looked at the cycle that goes round and round throughout the book. Here we focus on one of the judges, Gideon. Amazing things happen, but is Gideon really the hero? Now, there's loads of superhero films out there. One look at the film title or a glance at the poster and it's fairly obvious who the hero is. Iron Man, Batman, Spider-Man, Black Widow, Black Panther. The hero is up front and central. Judges 6 through 8 is the account of Gideon. It starts with his call to be a judge, records his victory, and ends with a period of his leadership in Israel. The film might even be called Gideon. Yet he's not the hero, and the Bible makes that clear. The hero here is God, not Gideon. We see this as we're introduced to the two main characters in Judges 6. Here's verse 11. The angel of the Lord came, and he sat under the oak that was at Ophrah, which belonged to Joash the Abiezrite. His son Gideon was threshing wheat in the winepress in order to hide it from the Midianites. Here we meet the angel of the Lord. As in other encounters with the angel of the Lord, the Bible makes it clear that this is more than an ordinary angel. He's God, or more specifically, he's the eternal Son of God who would come as a baby and be born in Bethlehem about 1400 years later. Here's God, the one who delivered Israel from Egypt, the one who parted the Red Sea, the glorious God who is utterly dependable, totally powerful, completely perfect, and full of grace and love. So that's the angel of the Lord. The other main character is Gideon. What kind of a person is he? The Bible gives a picture of a man who was timid and struggled with faith. God instructs Gideon to tear down his father's altar to Baal and cut down his Asherah poles. These were the places of false worship for Gideon's family. What does Gideon do? Judges 6 and verse 27. So Gideon took 10 of his male servants and did as the Lord had told him. But because he was too afraid of his father's family and the men of the city to do it in the daytime, he did it at night. Gideon obeys, but he's scared. He's scared of what his dad and others might say and what his dad and others might do. I don't want to be too hard on Gideon here. I think I'd be the same, or maybe more afraid. Yet the Bible highlights Gideon's fear for a reason. He isn't a bold and courageous man. He's not the hero. Later in chapter 6, we have one of the most famous incidents in Gideon's life. God has appeared to Gideon. God has spoken to Gideon, yet that's not enough. Gideon wants a sign to make sure that God really means what he's saying, and that God will help him. Here's his request in Judges 6 and verses 37 and 38. I will put a wool fleece here on the threshing floor. If dew is only on the fleece, and all the ground is dry, I will know that you will deliver Israel by me, as you said. Next morning, the ground is dry and the fleece is soaked. Yet Gideon's still not sure. Another test, this time wet ground and a dry fleece. God's patient. The next morning the ground is wet and the fleece is bone dry. Gideon is timid and he also struggles with faith. I can relate to that. Maybe you can too. I don't want to be too hard on him, yet at the same time God's telling us this for a reason. You see, who's the hero here? Who's the perfect one? Who's the flawless one? Who's the great and glorious one? Gideon or the angel of the Lord? It's a straightforward answer. It's God. It's the Lord. That's true wherever we land in the Bible. Turn up at the Red Sea crossing, who's the hero? Stand on the field when David faces the giant Goliath, who's the hero? Watch on as Elijah challenges the prophets of Baal, who's the hero? Look down at the Assyrian army fleeing from Jerusalem, who's the hero? It's God. It's the Lord every time. And the same is true today. As a preacher and a pastor, this is something I must constantly remind myself of. People aren't helped by following me. It's not my advice or my teaching that people need. It's Jesus. He's the hero. My job is to simply point to him. And what about you? Who are you looking to? Who are you pointing people to? Remember, it's God, not Gideon, not me, not you, who's the hero. So God, not Gideon, is the hero. And it's God, not Gideon, who has the victory. This is made clear at the initial encounter with the angel of the Lord. In Judges 6 and verses 15 and 16, we listen in on their conversation. He, that's Gideon, said to him, that's the angel of the Lord, "Please, Lord, how can I deliver Israel? Look, my family is the weakest in Manasseh, and I am the youngest in my father's family." "But I will be with you," the Lord said to him. "You will strike Midian down as if it were one man." Victory is guaranteed. Why? Because the Lord will be with him. The same point is made later when Gideon gathers an army. 32,000 men respond to his call. A large force, but nothing compared to the Midianites, who had at least 135,000 men. As Gideon looks at the army and does the maths, God speaks. Judges 7 and verse 2. "The Lord said to Gideon, 'You have too many troops for me to hand the Midianites over to them, or else Israel might elevate themselves over me and say, I saved myself.'" What? Israel were already giving way almost 5-1 in favour of the Midianites. But God says there's too many of them. Why? Because they need to know it was God who gives the victory. Notice again what God says. "Or else Israel might elevate themselves over me and say, I saved myself." In Judges 7 and verse 3, God speaks, "Now announce to the troops, whoever is fearful and trembling may turn back and leave Mount Gilead." So 22,000 of the troops turned back, but 10,000 remained. The army has shrunk to a third of the original force. At best, it's now around 14-1 in the Midianites' favour on the battlefield. But God says it's still too much. The 10,000 men are taken to the river to drink. Most kneel down to drink, but 300 lap water from their hands. Here's what God says in verse 7. "The Lord said to Gideon, I will deliver you with the 300 men who lapped and hand the Midianites over to you. But everyone else is to go home." This is crazy. The Midianites outnumber the Israelites at least 450-1. There's no way Israel can win unless God gives them the victory. Later, these 300 men surround the Midianite camp, each carrying jugs with a torch inside, a ram's horn and a sword. They smash the jugs, they blow the horns, they shout, "For the Lord and for Gideon." The result: the Midianites flee and are defeated. Whose victory is it? Who's the hero here? Is it Gideon or is it God? Is it Gideon or is it the angel of the Lord, Jesus? There are all kinds of battles we face in our lives. Each day is a battle with temptation. We take on sin and its grip on our desires. Selfishness, lust, anger, and so much more are ready to trap us. Who's the hero? Is it Jesus or is it ourselves? And what about the battle to share Christ with others? I don't know about you, but talking about Jesus can fill me with fear. I know the gospel is incredible, but I don't want to open my mouth. And when I do, the moment I encounter resistance, it's firmly shut again. Who's the hero? Who do I need to help me? And then the biggest battle, the battle with death and judgment. Who are you looking to as you think of eternity? Hell or heaven are in the balance. We've sinned and deserve God's judgment. Who can change that? Who's the hero? Who do I need to help me? Only Jesus has defeated the power of sin and can save us from death and judgment. Do you feel weak? I do. I feel like a thin tree that will snap in the slightest breeze. But that's okay. It's not me who gives the victory. It's Jesus. So it's God, not Gideon, who's the hero. It's God, not Gideon, who gives the victory. That's so clear. How can Israel not get it? In Judges 8 and verse 22 we read, "Then the Israelites said to Gideon, 'Rule over us, you as well as your sons and your grandsons, for you delivered us from the power of Midian.'" Now, who do the people need? God. They need to seek him. They need to follow him. They need to lean on him. But what do? They aim to set Gideon up as king and establish the Gideon dynasty. But that would have been a mistake. Why? The rest of the chapter shows us that Gideon is not the ultimate answer to Israel's needs. Although initially he does the right thing, he turns down the kingship. His life and leadership don't leave the best of legacies. To begin with, he leads Israel astray and into idolatry. Verse 27, Gideon made an ephod and put it in Ophrah, his hometown. Then all Israel prostituted themselves by worshipping it there. This is reminiscent of the golden calf incident at the foot of Mount Sinai. Gideon gathers some gold that the people had plundered from the Midianites. He turns it into a golden ephod, a golden apron. Bizarrely, but completely in line with the absurdity of a sinful heart, the people view it as a god and worship it. And that's not all. Gideon had many wives. In Deuteronomy 17 and verse 17, God had said the rulers of his people shouldn't do this. Gideon also had a concubine. That's kind of a wife, but also not. Another thing that was wrong. His concubine has a son called Abimelech. All this didn't end well. After Gideon's death, Abimelech kills all but one of his brothers and begins his reign of terror. Look, who's the hero? Is it Gideon or is it God? Is it Gideon or is it the angel of the Lord, Jesus? It's vital we learn this lesson. We live in a celebrity culture. Fame gets you respect and a following. People listen because you're well known. And that culture is present in the church too. Today, we have celebrity pastors and preachers with hundreds of thousands, millions listening to them on YouTube and following them on social media. It's easy to become enamored with them, but they're not Jesus. We must be careful that we know who the hero is. Yet, celebrity pastors are just minor celebrities compared to Christian musicians, particularly those in mainstream Christian music. As helpful as music can be both in our corporate worship or personal listening, we need to remember the singer and the song is not Jesus. And it's not only the celebrity culture that causes this problem. If you're married, it's easy to look at your husband or wife as the person whose job it is to fix your life and make you feel loved. If they fail, you feel let down. But God never meant for them to be the ultimate answer. That's Jesus. And it's not only marriage. We can invest too much expectation in our friends or too much responsibility on others in our church. They become the ones on whom we rely. Now, people matter. I don't want to diminish the difference a friend can make, but they aren't Jesus. Think about it. Who's your hero? Is it Gideon or a modern day equivalent? Are you relying on a man or a woman, or are you relying on God? Are you looking to the angel of the Lord, Jesus? Is he your hero right now in your heart? What do these chapters teach us? Jesus is the only one that can give you the victory and the only one who will never let you down.